You've spoken about, kind of recently, about just disappearing from public life to a certain degree at some point. Is that something you see happening more and more, of just backing away from the limelight and going and living your life?
Well, it isn't even that I want to go live my life. It's that at some point, there's the problems that we talked about earlier. There's an overexposure problem and there's a repetition problem. Like, I have a fairly wide range of things to talk about, but it's not inexhaustible. And once I've talked about all those things, talking about them a bunch more is going to become counterproductive. So what I need to do is go away and read and think and come up with a bunch of new ideas. Now, I'm going to handle that to some degree, because the next lecture series that I'm going to do will be on Exodus. I did a biblical series last year on Genesis, and that was quite popular. And I think quite necessary, certainly necessary for me, because it was a good intellectual and ethical endeavor. I want to go through the Exodus stories next, and that'll be new. But I need to balance communication with thinking and the generation of new ideas. And I'm going to finish up this tour sequence probably mostly by February. I'm going to come back to Europe probably next April for a bit. And then I think, like, I have like 1,000 books at home that are sitting there waiting to be read.
Is that how you unwind? Do you unwind? You know, do you relax?
Mostly the way I unwind is by spending time with my family. I wouldn't, but no, there's very little of that. And there hasn't been much of that in my whole life, and there's certainly been none of it in the last 2 years. I mean, I haven't had any time off of any duration for 2 years, and not very much of it before then. But I'm not complaining about that. Like, I function better flat out. I mean, I need to pull back a bit because I have some reading to do and some thinking and all of that, but I'm not complaining. I mean, I've got nothing to complain about. It's very, well, how should you conceptualize your life? Peace and tranquility? I don't think so. I think if you're lucky, your life is an adventure, and hopefully it's one you undertook voluntarily. And an adventure isn't leisure and tranquility. It's alertness and readiness. And that's fine. I think that's the best you get, is that you're contending. You're contending with life successfully. And so that's the situation that I'm in, and that's fine. But it will be good and proper at some point to pull back enough so that I can read and think and write more. So, but I will do that, I believe.
So if you do pull back at some point, that's exactly what you're going to be doing?
Oh, definitely, yeah. I mean, I'm writing right now. I wrote a lot. I'm going to post some of it today about this ongoing discussion with Sam Harris. So, but I'm looking, isn't that I like writing exactly, because it's too hard to be something that you like exactly, but it's something that I find necessary and intensely engaging. I have a writer friend. His name is Greg Hurwitz. He featured some of my rules in one of his books, an Orphan X book. And he's been writing nonstop for 25 years. He's written a bestseller every year for 25 years. He said, he's involved in many projects, he said the only time he really feels like he's accomplished something is when he's writing. And I kind of feel that way too. Like, if I've written during the day, then I really feel like I've done something that justified the day. And lecturing is like that, and clinical work is like that, but writing is definitely like that. So I'm looking forward to doing a bunch more of that.